Yo, what is good, everybody? It is KJ. I am back, and we're here with PDD Week 1. I am super excited to jump into this, and oh my goodness, I have so many mons that I'm super excited to use, but this matchup is gonna be tough, and I already registered my battle team. I just realized I did mess up my Terra type, so we will not be terroring the Electrode at all. But real quick, I'm gonna go through my opponent's team. So as you can see on the screen, they've got Mew, Roaring Moon, Skeledirge, Orthworm, Decidueye, Dugtrio, and then they have kind of like a pretty good rain core of, I mean, they've got Pelipper, they've got Raichu, they've got Golduck, they've got Basculegion Female, and they've got Goodra, which can operate in the rain. So super scary team. Their Terra captains are Orthworm and Goodra. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly run through the team that I brought, and then we'll get to the game. So first, we have what I basically am considering my win con, and that is Iron Valiant. It's Swords Dance with booster energy, so it does boost speed, and we've got coverage for pretty much everything. Poison Jab, Spirit Break, Close Combat hits everything on the team, so very excited about that. If they are Terra, Fairy, Goodra, we do have the Poison Jab for that. Other than that, we're doing pretty well. We need a little bit of chip on Orthworm, and then this thing just wins when it can set up. Next, we have Klefki. Klefki is kind of a standard screen set. I am Magnerized just in case I get trapped by the Dugtrio, so we can kind of just hit the Dugtrio. We can Magnerize and then hit the Dugtrio, and that'll be good. So we can kind of use the Dugtrio to get screens up, which is ideal. Next, we have the Iron Jugulis. We are AV. This thing is going to be living a lot of the various water attacks that are coming through, so that is really good. Iron Jugulis is super bulky, so very, very excited to, like, get this in there. It can pivot, it has knockoff for utility, and then the stabs just hit pretty hard, so very excited about that. Slowking is Chilly Reception, and so as you can see on the screen, we do have Electrodesui. It's supposed to be Terra Ice. I did mess that up, and I already registered my team, as I mentioned, so we won't be terroring with it today, unfortunately, but the idea was we have Slowking clicking Chilly Reception, and then Electrode can come in and just fire off Terra Blast if it needs to in front of Roaring Moon, or it can just Volt Switch out or click Energy Ball or Thunderbolt. That was kind of the idea, but it is what it is. But the Slowking, we do a Future Sight. We do want to try to force the Roaring Moon in, because if we can force the Roaring Moon in and then be able to, like, position something like Scarf Cleavor, for example, or in theory, before the Scarf Electrode, we would be able to kind of take care of it. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen, so we just got to kind of figure out what we're going to do. That'll be interesting. But we do have Slack Off and Surf as well, just to hit things in front of us. Rain Boosted Surf will still be pretty nice. They don't have a Water Absorb Mon that I know of, so yeah, that'll be pretty interesting. And then we have our lead last, which is the Cleavor. So we are double Scarf this week and booster energy with Iron Valiant. Honestly, I just wanted to make sure that I could outpace this Rain team in terms of speed, which both Iron Valiant and Electrode do. And Cleavor, I thought, was just a really good Scarfer here, being able to kind of potentially outspeed the Roaring Moon, outspeed the Mew is going to be really good. I think we kind of want to lead with Cleavor and just click U-turn. Unless the Pelipper's out, then I might go with clicking Stone Axe to try to kill it, because depending on the spread, I think max defense lives, but everything else, it's at least a roll, and it starts to get into my favor if it's just max HP. So really excited about that. I am so upset with myself that I messed up the Terra type, especially in week 1, but that's going to be the team, and I will catch y'all for the battle. Okay, we are back, and let's see what they bring. No Roaring Moon. Okay, I feel a little bit better. Dugtrio. They've got the Mew. Goodra. We've got Pelipper. Orthworm. Oh, so both Terra Captains. And Decidueye. Interesting. Okay. Was not expecting that. Alright, so I think we can just continue to lead our... our Cleavor here. And I might opt to click U-turn if they lead Dougie. Yeah, That's what I think I'll do. I'm still gonna scout, but if they lead Doug Trio, then I'll definitely have to consider you. Yo, what is good, everybody? So unfortunately, I do have some bad news. Our footage was unfortunately cut short, so I don't know what happened there, but thankfully Lillie was kind enough to send us their footage. So we do have footage for this week, and I'll be doing a post-com, so we'll kind of talk about the game and talk about the things that I could have done better, the things that I thought I did well, and kind of go from there. So without further ado, let's get into this. So we're back, and as I mentioned, I was leading with Scarf Cleavor. So my thinking here was Stone Axe gets my hazards up, does a good amount of damage to quite a bit of the team. And honestly, I didn't want to potentially proc a weakness policy, but seeing this, I did think it was probably Hazard's Mew, because I was like, okay, Mew definitely like just does really well as a lead hazard setter. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't I want to make sure I did damage there. And if we were trading hazards, that was fine. They do go into Gudra, which we see this is a 2-hit KO, which is really nice because we chipped this thing down. I was really scared of this thing because it is one of their Terra captains, and we get our rocks up. So my thinking now is we can just click this again. If the Orthworm comes in, we get good damage on it. I mean, we needed some chip on it to make sure that the Iron Valiant can win in the late game. So Orthworm does come in here, and we are going to hit it with Stone Axe and get Rocks Chip, which is really nice. And we do see that it's also not leftovers. So that makes me think it's some other item, probably a berry of some sort. But now I'm thinking, all right, let's get Iron Jugulis in, because this thing can just kind of click Hurricane or Dark Pulse, depending on if it's Terra or anything like that. So that was kind of my next thought. I'm really just wanting to get Jugulis in, especially if they're getting rocks up here. I don't want Jugulis to take the 25% from rocks because we are AV. So we get Jug in, and they actually opt for a Coil. So Coil was actually a set that I wasn't thinking too much about, and it's actually super scary for my team. So that was something I was like, oh, this is going to be kind of bad. So for me, I'm thinking, all right, again, I didn't see lefties earlier on this thing, so I'm just going to click knock off. If something else comes in, we get to knock off an item. If this stays in, then we take a little bit of damage with the Coil, but we get to knock off whatever item it is, whether it's a berry, whether it's like citrus berry or resist berry. We can just knock whatever item off. So that was kind of my thinking, and I think overall that might have been the best play, because anything that comes in, I mean, I guess if they expected that and they were weakness policy and the Mew came in, that could have been kind of rough, but I think risking Mew like that would have been kind of dangerous, especially because there would have been no way for them to outspeed. So I see the Decidueye coming in here, and it didn't take any hazard damage, so I knew it was boots. However, we also knocked the boots off. So yeah, at this point, I was like, why not just click Hurricane? And my thinking, especially because they did bring the Pelipper without bringing like the Golduck or the Basculegion, I was thinking, okay, I can now kind of abuse the rain that they have a little more than they can, because Jugulis can just spam Hurricane if rain does come up. And I didn't expect them to actually keep this thing out, but Hurricane just looked really good into most of the team. Outside of the Orthworm, which again, I'm just looking to get chip on the Orthworm. So if Orthworm comes in here, we just get chip. And honestly, if it did come in, we can then click Dark Pulse afterwards. And I think it was good them not necessarily bringing it in because they don't want to risk a flamethrower. So yeah. And my other thing is, if they stay in, which they do stay in here, I was like, okay, rocks are now up for the rest of the game. Like, now that we get rid of this thing, this was their only defogger because of Paldea decks making defog much more limited. So that was their only defogger, and I was pretty happy about that. I was like, okay, Rocks are staying up, which means we know that Orthworm is taking damage from them. And if Dugtrio is Sash, that would break a Sash. So I'm very, very excited here. So they do go into the Pelipper, and again, because we're AV, I know anything this thing wants to do to us, we just live. So I decide to click Hurricane again here, and it does a ton of damage, which is, again, very exciting. So they actually opt to click Tailwind, which I thought was a really cool strat. But unfortunately for them, we are AV, so again, anything that Pelipper does to us, we just kind of eat it, right? So they do click Ice Beam, and you can see that Jug is not getting 2-hit KO'd by that, barring a crit. So Jug gets its second kill here, killing the Pelipper, and now we're in a position where Hurricane spam is just really, really good. So I'm just going to be clicking Hurricane until there's not a reason to. So they do opt to bring in the Goodra, and from here, I'm thinking, all right, if this thing terras, it terras, whatever. I'm just going to click Hurricane. Like, we did about 70% to it with Stone Axe, so we're in a good spot. And yeah, that Ice Beam, we eat that up, and then we get our third kill. So I think there were still 1 or 2 turns of Tailwind up. I think it was 2. I think there were still 2 turns of Tailwind up. It could have been 1. But I'm thinking in my head, okay, Mew is probably coming in, and it's probably going to click like DD or something, because with Tailwind, either DD or Calm Mind, my thinking was with Tailwind, they probably weren't going to be like Agility Weakness Policy. So I do opt to click Dark Pulse here because I did want to get damage on this thing, because it is one of those mons that is super bulky and can live some hits that you weren't necessarily expecting it to live. So I did click Dark Pulse here, but in hindsight, I should have clicked Hurricane, because Rain was still up, Hurricane was still doing a ton of damage, and honestly, it was one of those situations where if it was Weakness Policy and this was Agility, I was in a really bad spot. Like, I definitely put myself in a terrible spot if this would have popped a Weakness Policy, because it doesn't kill, obviously. And I mean, they do get the Calm Mind off, so that does help. But I dropped the ball there. Luckily, we do see that it's leftovers, and their Tailwind is done. So I'm thinking that now that Tailwind is gone, they're going to preserve this. So I click Knock Off, and I knock off the leftovers. I was thinking that something else is coming in. I was not expecting another Tailwind. So the second Tailwind comes up, and I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to click Dark Pulse again. It hits everything. Like, if Orthworm comes in, it hits that. If the Dugtrio comes in, it hits that. And we would already have the Sash broken if it is Sash. So I'm just thinking, all right, let's just go for it. And then I see another Calm Mind, and I was actually really confused. Now, obviously, we can tell that they don't have a move to hit the Iron Jugulis. I'm guessing they didn't necessarily think it was coming, but we do end up picking up a 4th kill with Iron Jugulis. So Jug getting 4 kills is super hype, and that, I think, put us in a spot where Iron Valiant wins this endgame, especially because the Orthworm's gonna have to take some hits. And yeah, honestly, I was just super excited about this. I was like, okay. So Orthworm comes in, takes more chip from Rocks, and because of the Tailwind, I knew that it was going to be faster than us, but I figured we'll just stay in. No need to try to preserve differential or anything crazy like that, or we'll just sack this and we'll go into the next mod. So speaking of that, I do kind of make a misplay. So I should have went into Slowking here. Slowking kills the Orthworm with Surf, and then it kills the Dugtrio, right? Instead, I decide to go Electrode. So my Electrode is Scarf, as I mentioned earlier. And one of the things is, if they would have doubled into the Dugtrio here, I actually would have been in kind of a like weird spot, right? Because I clicked Thunderbolt. So it doesn't kill, but like I clicked Thunderbolt. They're obviously going to be Arena Trap. So that would have just lost me a differential. So that was dumb on my part. I should have went with the Slowking because obviously grass move doesn't kill this thing. So that's one play I wish I had back. It didn't end up biting me too hard there, but again, I do wish I had that play back because that was not an optimal play. That said, I realized, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm potentially throwing away differential. So I go into Slowking, and now I'm thinking, all right, we can win this game. So Slowking eats the +1 body press, and I'm just gonna click Surf because 2 Surfs does the job. Like, Dugtrio can't live a Surf from Slowking, and at like 33-ish%, I figured that this wasn't going to be living that either. So they do get the hit off because, again, they are in Tailwind, and yeah, we were able to pick up a kill for Slowking. So their last mon is Dugtrio, and I figured it might be able to get a kill if it's like Sucker Punch. We do see that obviously it's not Boots because it does take rocks damage, and they actually opt for a final Gambit. So good on them for going out on their terms. We do end up living, so Slowking is able to tank that, thankfully, because of the rocks damage, I think. And we do end up getting the dub. So we are going to be 1-0 with a +5 differential. And again, GG to my opponent, Lillie. We were talking and comparing sets and things after the game, and I thought Tailwind was a super awesome bring. I really, really did. Other than the play where I sent in Electrode early, I don't think I played that game poorly. I think I played that game pretty well. I think the turn that I opted to Stone Axe the second time, I could have hard switched out expecting the Orthworm coming in, but honestly, I didn't think that was too big of an issue. So yeah, thank you everybody. And again, if you want to see Lillie's side of the battle, Lillie's channel will be in the description below. And on top of that, you can actually get to their channel with the QR code in the corner. Also, we have all of the PDD coaches in the description below. And if you want to join the PDD Discord, that's going to be in the top right corner with the QR code. So with that, I'm going to catch y'all later. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate y'all watching. We are going to be playing the homie Sally Mumble for week 2 of PDD. So very excited about that. Somebody that we've played on the channel a few times. So yeah, again, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. We're on our way to 250. It'll be dope if we can hit that before like the end of the month, but we'll see. But without further ado, I'm going to catch y'all later. Thank you, everybody. Take it easy. Peace.